Hi, I'm John Shipp. Welcome to my art analysis channel. In this episode, I'm going to talk about Vermeer's Woman Holding a Balance, as well as a few other paintings by Vermeer, including Girl with a Pearl Earring. But first, I want to talk to you about directions that people face and what I think that means in paintings. When a person is facing directly toward the viewer, I think they're looking at the present moment. And when they're facing to the right, I think they're looking at the future in countries that write from left to right, that is. And then when people are looking to the left, I think they're looking backward in time. And when people are facing away from the viewer, they're ignoring the present moment. Now, keep in mind that everything that I tell you in all these videos is only my opinion. I've only totally made this up. So let's get started with Vermeer's Woman Holding a Balance.
Let's look at Woman Holding a Balance. There is a woman dressed in contemporary clothing for around 1664. She stands next to a table of gold and pearls. She holds an empty scale in her right hand. The painting was originally called Woman Weighing Gold, but it was possibly changed to Woman Holding a Balance when the scales were seen to be empty. However, I think that Woman Weighing Gold may be a more appropriate title. When we see that the balance is empty, then we might consider weighing gold as an allegory. The woman is facing left, looking back in time. Her head is placed in the center of a painting of a Last Judgment style, and she is facing a mirror which hangs on the left wall. She is judging herself. She is evaluating her choice of a significant other and the wealth that she has accumulated as a result. She is thinking to herself, was it worth it? Should she have chosen a different path for herself? She might also be pregnant, which is a time when a mother really looks at themselves and their situation. I will show you other clues that reinforce this story and make me think that Woman Holding a Balance is about intimacy and choice, and the woman is weighing her current relationship with a man and the wealth that came with it. She is weighing gold. Woman Holding a Balance has what I think are some hidden shapes in it, which also solidifies the overall story of the painting. The woman's white cowl and clothing make the shape of a buzzard who feeds on the dead, perhaps a comment that her current spouse is much older and near the grave. The shadow in the left corner looks like a head and nude torso, with the blue cloth below the shadow bunched up as though the woman has removed her clothing down to her waist. The lighter part of the wall around the shadow resembles a woman's naked behind, referencing, among others, paintings by Lucas Cranach depicting the Three Muses, a story about choosing a person who is most beautiful. Vermeer's original title of Woman Weighing Gold is also a hint that Vermeer is multi-referencing Peter de Hooch, who made a painting called Interior with a Woman Weighing Gold just a year or two before Vermeer's painting. I will show you de Hooch's Interior with a Woman Weighing Gold in a few minutes. Woman Holding a Balance also multi-references the artist Jan Steen, and I think that Vermeer is particularly responding to Steen's painting entitled Choice Between Richness and Youth. Unfortunately not shown, it was painted between 1661 and 1663, just before Vermeer's painting. It shows a woman choosing between two men, one rich and older, and one young and handsome. Another hidden image which I want to show you is the sword, which is the picture frame placed exactly where the blade of a sword would be if she held both a balance and a sword in her right hand. Vermeer is painting the woman as the goddess Lady Justice, whose attributes are a sword and a beam-balanced scale. Lady Justice is also blindfolded or blind, and Vermeer's woman has downcast eyes as though she is blind and impartially weighing her own life's choices. The Lady Justice goddess often appears with Prudentia, or Prudence, an allegorical female persona whose attributes are a mirror and a snake. The mirror is on the left wall, and the snake is painted as a decoration under the table. I think that almost all master artists used this method of what I call multi-referencing and still do to this day. Vermeer is painting Woman Holding a Balance as a message to Jan Steen and Peter de Hooch, the two artists who are multi-referenced and were still alive when it was painted. The master of Soriquarola references are not pictured, but here are the titles of what I think are the most obvious references. Here I will show you what I think are several multi-references Vermeer makes to Simone Martini. I've circled what I think are the most obvious references. Take a look and see if you agree. The balance in the Martini picture is an obvious reference, but also the black blade of the sword is referenced, reinforcing the story of Lady Justice in Woman Holding a Balance. The dark blue here looks like Vermeer's shadow he painted in the corner on the left. I think almost all master artists who are collected by museums use the multi-reference technique from 1280 until now. I like the clever reference of a coin as sunlight reflecting on the wall. Jewels and wealth revered as much as the sun in this story. You can see Justice Van Gent in museums that have his artworks and on Wikimedia Commons. For Perugino, I will show you some examples here. There are also many other artworks by Perugino that I have not shown you that are also references in Woman Holding a Balance. I can only show you all the images that I can. Here, Perugino's baptism picture looks like Vermeer's painting on the wall. I think that eventually there will be computer software that can hold a database of the world's art, and you will be able to select an artwork and the computer will tell you which artists and which artworks are referenced within a % of confidence level to help you figure out the story within a work of art. I really like the leg reference here. Lucas Cranach is also multi-referenced in Johannes Vermeer's Girl with a Pearl Earring, which we'll see soon. So look for a girl looking over her shoulder, or pearls, or pearl shape, or a bonnet. Great artists would hope that their artworks are still around long after the artist who made the art has left this earth. So an artist would have to tell the story of their artwork without any verbal explanation. And so multi-referencing and hidden shapes were important tools for the artist, as well as knowing what other conversations were going on with paintings and sculptures between living artists. I like the reference here showing a pictorial analogy of the table and jewels as a giant hand reaching out to her. Jan Steen and Peter de Hooch are both Dutch painters who are still alive in 1664, and I think Vermeer, Steen, and de Hooch are sending messages to each other with paintings. The conversation in Woman Holding a Balance is, I think, a response to Jan Steen's painting The Choice Between Richness and Youth, which was painted between 1661 and 1663. The Choice Between Richness and Youth multi-references both de Hooch and Vermeer and shows a young woman deciding which man she wants to be with, the older wealthy man or the younger handsome man who's presumably not as well off. While Johannes Vermeer and Jan Steen and Peter de Hooch are multi-referencing each other back and forth, the other great artists like Dutch masters Rembrandt and Gerard Dew, as well as artists from other parts of the world who see this painting and know the multi-reference techniques, they can incorporate this information into their own art, and the circles of conversation go round and round. Here is Vermeer's painting Woman with a Pearl Necklace, which also multi-references Jan Steen and Peter de Hooch. I think it is part of the same conversation. I'd like to think that Woman Holding a Pearl Necklace was painted just after Woman Holding a Balance, but it could have been before. We don't know for sure. Here, Vermeer paints the same girl in almost the same scene as Woman Holding a Balance, but the painting on the wall of the Last Judgment is gone and replaced with the pearl necklace, almost as if she traded in the painting for the jewels and is no longer judging life. She is now only focused on wealth. She holds the pearl necklace up to see it on herself in the mirror, but the angle of it also depicts that she is being led by the jewels as a collar around her neck. Notice also that the girl holds her hands like she is playing a wind instrument. The woman thinks the pearls play beautiful music. The mirror in the pearl necklace picture is much smaller. The woman thinks less of herself for having traded in the painting and choosing pearls and wealth over being humble and religious. Now let's talk about Vermeer's most famous artwork, Girl with a Pearl Earring, which he painted around 1665, I think just after Woman Holding a Balance and Woman with a Pearl Necklace. The Girl with a Pearl Earring is a type of painting known as a trony, which is a small Dutch or Flemish painting, usually of a head or bust, created in the 17th century, which shows an anonymous person, often showing a facial expression and wearing an unusual or flamboyant costume. Other people's interpretations of Girl with a Pearl Earring point out that the huge pearl earring and the oriental clothing together refer to the subject of oriental pearls of the gospel, where women should protect themselves from unclean words and should only hear chaste words. Girl with a Pearl Earring also multi-references Steen and de Hooch. It also features a pearl, and it is also the same girl. So I think it is a continuation of the same story as Woman Holding a Balance and Woman with a Pearl Necklace. She looks younger, though, so perhaps the story here happens at an earlier point. The girl is painted in the posture of looking back over her left shoulder, but she is looking back symbolically as well. She is also looking back at her old flame, who is you, the viewer of the painting, who was the previous love of her life and is right now with her, and her face shows surprise, recognition, and affection, all in one precious instant. The girl is at that moment wondering what her life may have been like with that other person, and if she chose the right person to be with or not. Maybe she should have chosen you.
So in order to tell a great story within a work of art, an artist can paint what is obvious in a picture, and they can also paint hidden images within the picture, and they can also paint multi-references of different works of art as well as different artists in a painting or sculpture or drawing. And once you know an artist like Johannes Vermeer has painted a very complex and great story, then you'll look for other works of art by that artist and wonder how great a story they're telling in this picture. Thanks for watching.